So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join me today. This webinar is all about supporting you with your trial to Education City. What we're going to be doing is just taking you on a bit of a whistle-stop tour of those key areas of Education City. Particularly, I'm really going to want to focus on those ones that are going to help you in terms of remote learning. Obviously, differentiation, if you've got some children in at the moment, key worker children, as well as those that are working from home. So I'm just going to go through those as like the key areas, if you like. There's going to be a lot of information, but this webinar is being recorded, so you will be able to watch it back through. Don't worry about kind of taking everything all in at once. And there are some really, really useful tools to help you in certain areas as well, but I'll come to those a little bit later on. So this is essentially our outline for today. The users and the groups. The users is the most important part of Education City. If users aren't set up, you can't access it and you can't allocate work to students, and students can't access to complete that work. So the users area is the most important. The different resources that we have and where you can find those, again, there's going to be a lot of information there. The easiest thing is to have a bit of a play around. Looking at those My Cities, those are what we use to create planning folders and sort of setting work to our students. And then tracking what they've done, their progress and their usage as well. And then just looking at the free resources that we have and how you can contact us if you need to. Now, I will be pointing out on the site how to contact us, but at the end, I will provide you with the customer service email address. So if your school has not yet taken advantage of that free Education City access, you can get in touch with me and I will pass you over to the right person. But if you have already, then welcome to the Education City team. My name is Haylie, an ex-teacher myself. I'm going to be talking you through that, and I work on the customer service side as well. Now, the account I'm going to be using today is a made-up school, so don't worry about any names that you might see, whether student or staff, they are all made up. It is also an English account, but if you're joining me today from outside of England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, wherever you might be, there might be certain things that look slightly different, but I will point that out as we are going through. I think that is just about everything. Last little bit there. If you've got any questions for me, we really do encourage asking questions. You'll notice on your taskbar there is a Q&A button. What that does is it enables you to ask questions live, means I can answer those there and then for you. You can also click to ask questions anonymously using that as well, so it's quite handy. You can type questions into the chat, but just be aware that that doesn't ping up on my screen, so I won't be able to access those as easily as I would do the questions. Okay, I think that's all of the housekeeping. We head over to educationcity.com and log in. And here we are logged into our account. So that there is go.educationcity.com, and it will ask you for your username and password that you can enter to log in. When you're logged in, it should say in this top right-hand corner your name and the school name just there, just so that you're aware you've logged in. If for any reason it doesn't, contact your Education City administrator or get in touch with us and we'll see what we can do. So starting off with the users, as I mentioned earlier, that is the most important part, because if you're not logged in, you can't access all of the wonderful things that I'm about to show you. Starting over here in the users section, the little icon just there with a little sort of teacher and students. If we click in just there, you'll see that you've got the blue tabs for your students, your teachers, and your administrators. Now, the administrator for your account is usually responsible for the one that sets up the users. And it's really easy to see because the avatars are blue, so you can change how you're feeling today. And as are the blue tabs. So everything does kind of colour coordinate a little bit. We do love a bit of colour coordination here at Education City. Setting up users is relatively easy. You can click onto upload and edit, paste in a CSV file from your school's management system or an Excel spreadsheet, anything like that. Just make sure that the columns are in this order. So ID, first name, surname, class name, so on and so forth. We do have a sample spreadsheet there that is listed in that order. So you could always take the information, paste it into that, and then paste it just here. And when you've done that, just follow through next, working your way along. But as I mentioned, this is something that should be done via the management, by the administrator. That should get done for you. And you can always get in touch with a bit of advice for a bit of advice if you need that. We do have a great webinar. If I head over here to our help centre, just here, there's a great webinar about updating students for the new academic year, and that guides you through each of those processes. So do have a look at those. If you've got a new student joining you though, and you want to add a student individually, the button is just there. But again, that might be something that your administrator sorts out. Same with teachers and admin. This might be something that gets sorted automatically for you. Invite new teachers, just there, enter an email address and send the invite. That teacher will then receive an email asking them to create and verify their account. And that's it, it's that simple. Really, really is easy enough to do. And the great thing is as well, you can invite multiple teachers by selecting on invite multiple, paste all those email addresses there and submit. So getting set up on Education City, really, really, really important. And once those are done, you are able to print off student logins. Just find the student that you're after, select their name, actions, and print logins just there. And there is a home access letter, so parent letter that advises parents how to log in. Those can also be saved as PDFs if you'd rather email those out as well. There we go. So these green tabs over here, these are sort of more beneficial to us as teachers. You have the classes, which should be done automatically via the students uploading. And the benefit of Education City with classes is that although a student can only belong to one class, every teacher who has that Education City account has access to that class. So if you take your class for maths, but your year partner takes your class for English, and then you might have somebody come in that does science with your class, everybody has access to that class. What they don't is the group area. So classes, a child can belong to one at any time. Groups, there isn't a limit as to how many a child can belong to, nor is there a limit as to how many groups you can create. And you can see here, I've got a couple of examples just there. You might have house groups just there. You might have across the school, pupil premium groups or pupil equity funded children. You might have your SEND pupils or your gifted and talented pupils. And you might also have sort of booster groups or focus groups for different areas. One of the great things at the moment that we can do is we can create groups for our remote learners and our in-school learners, because we can sort of really easily differentiate then what they're going to be getting. So really easily, add group just there, give the group a name. A quick hint for you, or quick tip I should call it, always worthwhile popping your class name or your initials at the front of the group name. Just because everything gets listed in alphabetical order, it's easier to find your groups. So I've done my remote learners, so these are going to be my key workers or key worker learners just there. I can add in some notes just there. Those are for teacher purposes, so parents and students won't be able to see any of those notes. And then we can search for students by their name, or if we are looking as per our class, if you type in the class name as it appears just here, there we go, it filters down even further for you. Now remember, these children are all made up, so don't worry about any GDPR issues just here. They are all made up. And what we can do is we can hover over to see what groups students are already in. If we want to select a child, click in the box next to their name so it becomes a tick just there, and you can go through and you can select as many or as few students as you wish to. I'm just going to have a look, make sure, really handy now because I can see which students are my remote learners, and I'm just going down, making sure I've selected all of the students that I need for my key workers. There we go, but you can see what I mean. And then we just move those children into this group. There they are, and save. And it's as easy as that. You can create groups for any purpose, for subject areas, for units in subject areas, whatever you need them for. And it becomes so, so useful when you are setting work on EducationCity. I'm just going to take a moment just to see if anybody's got any questions for me. Do keep asking those questions. Any questions that you might have, type those into the Q&A area. Okay, none at the moment, so I'm going to move on. I'm going to head back to the home page using the home button just there. Now you may notice I could have also used the home button just there. This left-hand panel does follow you throughout EducationCity, and you can see the icons are replicated on the home screen. So it just saves you having to go back all the way to the home page to go somewhere else. You can select from here. And what we've also got here is our breadcrumb trail. So you can go back a stage or 2 steps instead of going all the way back to the start again. And what we're going to look at now is the resources that we have. And I'm going to start in the subjects area just here. There we go. We'll start in maths. You'll see that it is listed in sort of year order just there. This might appear differently if you are looking at yours from outside of England. For example, Scotland would say your early, first, second, with your levels just there, or your bands just there. So heading into maths lower key stage 2, just to start off with, we have our think it. So you can see just here, there's like a little thought bubble just there. And these are really, really good for open-ended questions or sort of more advanced questions, or even just to get the brain warmed up at the beginning of a session or a unit. If I open one of these up, this one's a great example just here. You'll see that there are printables available for the question and answer section. If I press play, just so that you can see, you have the question in which Stig poses this, this problem that he's got. He's made these 2 graphs, he forgot to label them. You've got Sten then saying, how can you tell which is which? Explain to me your reasoning behind it. In the answer section, you've got the answer provided to you just here. And then you've got that kind of next step, greater depth sort of instruction. Now, all of the think it's will either have that kind of greater depth question in the answer area, or it will have a piece of key vocabulary or a fun fact, particularly for the younger ones. They've got some lovely fun facts going on there. But as I mentioned, you can use the printables as well. And these, in this mode, if you're looking, you can see you've got the title there, you've got a bit of a sort of brief summary. You've got a version summary just here, so it tells you what you've been asked to do within the particular tool. And you've got the objectives. Everything on EducationCity is mapped to the curriculum that you follow. So if you follow the curriculum for excellence, it's mapped to that. If you follow the National Curriculum 2014, it's mapped to that. Right here as well, you can see this button just here, add to my city. Now the my city is the name of the folders that we have. So these just here. What we can do is we can click To add to a My City, we can choose one or all. Okay, make sure that's a green tick. And then you've got all of your folders that you've created previously that appear. Now, the benefit here is that if you've not yet created your folder, you could go, okay, this is something I wasn't looking for initially. I'm going to create this folder here and now. So new homework, new classwork just there. Simply type in what it is that you are looking to do. Graphs, for example, the name of the folder, and create. And you can see here it is just here. Again, make sure that orange plus turns into a green tick and save. Now, as I mentioned, all of this is being recorded for you, so don't feel like you have to get all of this first time over. It took me a while to get it as well. Just have a play around with it, have a practice, create some fake folders, have a bit of a play around popping those resources in. And the more you do, the more familiar you get, the easier it becomes, as with anything really. I scroll up to the top, you can see you've also got these filters down the left-hand panel here. So if I'm just looking for addition and subtraction, I can click into that unit area. Or we've got this specific topic filter. So we can find exactly what it is that I'm looking for. So maybe I'm looking for adding measurements. That's the particular tool that meets that objective or unit requirement. So you can really sort of filter down into what it is that you're looking for. I'm just going to head back along the breadcrumb trail to the subject area, and we're going to nip across to English now. There we go. And you can see exactly the same icons throughout. And just to give you a bit of an example of the differences just here. So this is an English one, writing clues for these nouns just here. And you've got that answer there. So this is what Stig's giving you. And you've got a bit of a fun fact just there as well. So that's a great example of having that fun fact. So in addition to ThinkIts, you'll find all these other resources. I'm going to move on to the Learn screens now, which is this icon just here. These are kind of a cross between a video and a PowerPoint presentation. They enable you to play, rewind, fast forward and pause, but you can also select a slide that you want to work on. So if we head over here, you'll see that there are a number of series. So you can see this one is a series just here. Images tend to give it away. There we go. A lot of them will have 1 and 2, so part 1, part 2, so really good for progression as well. And what you can do is, this one's a great series just here, looking at editing. What you can do is click onto one of those. You can add to a My City again, you've got those summaries. A lot of our Learn screens are also linked with activities, and that link is preset for you. So you've not got to waste time hunting about to find the tools that link together. It's already done for you. And that's the same if we head into the activities. It's the same process. Go back along that breadcrumb trail just there. We head into the activities just here. Here it is. Here's the activity. Here's the Learn screen. So it shows you that automatically. Now, benefit of the Learn screen is that it's great for independent learning. Children can work at their own pace, their own speed, traveling through what's been set for them. They all come with that sort of objective on there. So this is what they're working towards. And then we can press start. We can pause, we can have a bit of a discussion. So these sort of things are great if you pop them on like a learning platform, whatever online platform that you use, Zoom or Teams or whatever it is. You could pop it on there, you could work through with the children.
The same as another.
And you can see we could pause, we can fast forward to the next bit. We could pause, we could have a bit of a chat about that. And you can see you've got the slide selector at the bottom just here. Wherever there's a one with an orange bar, if we head over to that one, That orange bar is actually a question. So it does like to assess where students are at as they're working through that learn screen. Obviously, if they get the question incorrect, they can go back, they can start again. If they get the question right, they can start to move forward. And you can see there are 4 questions along here. So this particular one, the seedling had which homophone is correct. There we go. And if I do select the wrong one,
is the correct homophone.
It gives you that correct answer just there. And we can continue, or we can choose to go back a step and obviously revise that particular area. So learn screens, activities, the great thing about activity, and you're going to love us for this, all activities are marked for you. You've not got to worry about doing any marking when it comes to those activities. It's done automatically, and all of that data gets placed into our success tracker area. So you can sort of keep up to date with where your students are at. You can resubmit something into a folder for them to have another go. But there is actually an option to enable students to have another go to try and beat their best scores in the activities as well. And I'll show you that shortly. While we're here as well, again, we can add to the My City. All of the activities come with activity sheets. And when we're back in school, they're fantastic for like round robins or carousel learning because they do have different questions on them. It does also mean that if you've got any students who don't have access to Education City online, they can complete the activity sheet and they're sort of on par with their learning. We can add those tools in. Quick hint though, again, a quick tip, the activity sheet answers are designed for teachers, educators. So if you pop those into a folder for students, students won't be able to see those. So just a bit of a quick tip just there as well. There we go. So in addition to those 3 resources, those are the ones that I would say currently are brilliant for remote learning. You've got sort of that mental all star to get your brain warmed up, that independent learning introduction, and those main tasks. What we also have are our topic tools. I'm going to head over to Key Stage 1 for these. Because most of them are these wheel tools. Things like this one. So you can spin all of the wheels, you can spin 1, you can spin 2 of them, for example, and we can move a couple of those. Let's go for limp as an example, so they can look for those real and nonsense words, and we can nudge up and down to try and create those real words there as well. So ones like these are really, really good. There's a really good one in maths or numeracy for times tables as well. So sending home, getting children to practice their times tables. What you'll also find, there are some videos along the way. We have some brilliant reading comprehension videos as you work your way through. You've got the video that will read out the piece of text to the student, and then you've got the activity sheets where they can follow along the words and answer the questions at the end there as well. If I head up to EYFS, or your early starters, we do also have some great videos, sing-along ones. Days of the week one is brilliant. If you get a spare couple of minutes, do check out the Days of the Week video. We do have a couple of bundles. So our Phonics Bundle just here, this covers phase 2 to phase 5 in phonics, and each sound set comes with a learn screen to encourage how to sort of pronounce the sounds, and then an activity sheet per sound. You can see it goes right up to those digraphs and trigraphs just there. And then at the very end, you have the phonics screening check, which is obviously testing whereabouts your children are in understanding their phonics. Do have a look at those. Again, really, really useful. In addition to those, we do have our assessments. And again, these will differ depending upon the curriculum that you follow. And these are available for primary students in English, maths and science, or numeracy, literacy and science as well. I'll come to those again in a moment. I just want to move over to the games section because we've got some brilliant games, all educational as well. So we have our Play Live game in English, which is kind of like a giant game of Boggle. Only way I can describe that. It really is a giant game of Boggle. Letters will appear and it's up to students to drag between the letters to make words. So check in spellings as well. And you'll see that's available for every year group. It gets more difficult the higher up the year groups that you go. We've also got our brand new Whack-A-Mole games. These are available for capitals, consonants and vowels, and end of punctuation in literacy. And if I head over to maths again, you'll find some great Whack-A-Mole games for factor pairs, prime and square numbers just there as well, and our maths Play Live game. These are really, really fun. Again, also educational, answering questions as quickly as you can to move your little snail avatar across the screen. But beware, you only have 3 lives, and if you lose all 3 lives, the snail avatar goes into its shell. So it really is about accuracy as well as those instant recall skills. Couple in here as well for multiples. As you can see there, do explore those. They're lots of fun. And the Play Live games are online, which means students can compete against each other as well. You'll also find some videos in maths. These are our multiplication table videos, and they're part of the times table bundle as well. For each of the times tables from 2 to 12, there is a video. There is a multiplication activity, a division activity, and a multiplication and division challenge, all encouraging the commutative law and inverse measures. Do have a look at those, and if you get a spare 3 minutes, I would highly recommend the times table video. Brilliant. Towards the bottom, we've also got our multiplication tables checker. So we've got 6 seconds just there, moving on to 10 and 20 seconds. So great for building up confidence as well as those instant recall skills once again. Heading back over here, as I mentioned earlier, those topic tools. This is a multiplication tool that I talked about, really, really valuable, as well as telling the time. That's the sort of thing you could send home and encourage your students to do no matter what their age. That goes from telling the time in hours, minutes, digital, and comparing 2 clocks. So you could always look at the differences in time there as well. Lots of resources, absolutely loads of resources. And as I mentioned, the best thing to do is to have a play with it. Just stopping again for a moment, has anybody got any questions about any of those? We're all good, excellent. It's a lot to take in, I know it is, but as I mentioned, this will be recorded, this webinar, so you can watch it again in your own time. And you've got the help centre for any of your needs, including the webinars at the bottom there. And you've got PDF and YouTube user guides. So you could type in something such as My City, how to create a My City, and it will literally talk you through what to do. There we go, how to create a My City. You'll get these orange boxes that appear, she says. I think it's my internet. I don't know about you, but it's absolutely chucking it down here. Let's try again, shall we? But you can see, even if that doesn't work, you can watch the YouTube video just there. Not working today. It does work, I promise you. If you want to explore those assessments, do have a look over there. As with our activities, assessments are marked for you as well. And all formative assessments prescribe students with a revision journal, and that's filled with work based on the questions that they've gotten incorrect. So marked for you. Next step, greater depth questions already created, and that's all done by these 4 simple steps. Select a class or a group. The academic level, again, you could look, if I'm year 4, I can look for a year 3 assessment. My students won't see that. They'll only be able to see the title that I give it. You've got those different subject areas here. So unit assessments or end of year assessments, for example, or a formative assessment. Let's go for a fractions one, why not? You can schedule the dates in advance. So if you know at the end of May, you're going to be having an assessment week, you can schedule it for then if you wish to. And you've got a bit of a summary there as to how many days as well. This is the bit that students will see. My advice is to always pop the date in that you've set it for. Because if you're like me and your memory is appalling, it's a great reminder. But also if you decide to repeat the assessment, you've got the titles there to look at comparative data. So always worthwhile. And then press finish. And what that's essentially done is created a folder of work for you. And I can show you what that looks like. I head into the My City area. So these folders, there it is just there. And it's got that assessment in, and that's all done for you. If I head over here as well, that's that graphs tool that I popped in earlier as well. So you can see how these begin to form. Essentially, you've got some new classwork just here, new homework just here. So once again, you can begin to sort of create these new folders. So let's go with something to do with science. Why not? Let's go for plants. There we go. Create that folder and then add those resources in. You can use the subject area. You can use this button just here where you can search via a keyword. And again, we can filter down by level, subject area, and those different tool types. So we might want to pop a think in to start with, maybe. Then we might want a couple of learn screens. But you start to sort of see those buttons just there, those plus signs, really, really easy to add tools into a folder. And you've always got those info buttons there that tell you what curriculum objectives have been met via that particular tool. Again, look out for those links. You can see here, Best Laid Plants Part 1 Learn screen. You've got the activity just there. And you've also got Part 2 as a series of activities. When you've got your tools in, make sure you save, and all you need to do is work your way across these blue tabs. So you've got your students, again, you've got the groups just there, so I can allocate this to my remote learners. There they are, just there. Save again, just working your way across. Preferences, these are things like having a countdown timer on or turning a countdown timer off, setting a time limit, whatever. You know your students more than anyone. You know what will work best. The ones that I will tell you about earlier on, I mentioned about those activities and having another go to try and beat the best score. That's this bit just here for a game. You've also got the Play Live just there. I mentioned it is an online game, so you can always turn off the school name and player name. They're not seen. However, scores won't be saved for that. So I'll leave that up to you. The one that you do need to make sure you have a look at though is the publishing at the top of preferences. If you are giving this to students, you will need to publish it, and you can publish indefinitely or schedule a time frame. And again, you can schedule that as far in advance as you wish to. Just make sure that you save. You can see that's now published for those dates. Then you can start tracking having a look at what your students have been up to. Obviously, these students haven't been doing much because they don't exist. But again, really simple color-coded system enables you to view who has done what. Any questions on that at all? How are we doing? We all doing okay? Not long left, guys. What I want to tell you about is the other two ways of finding resources. First of all, top right-hand corner, you've got search content. That does exactly like in the My City. You search via a keyword, just on a bigger scale. And then you've got your curriculum maps just here. So this enables you to search via an objective that you're looking at. So we head into our year group or our band or our level. We find the unit area. We find the objective. And there you can see all of those resources that relate to that one objective. Again, we do love a bit of colour coordination here. You can see it's really clearly colour coordinated. Games, think it's activities, activity sheets, topic tools, and even learn screens. But if you are after something specific, maybe some activity sheets, click on that and you can see quite clearly all of the activity sheets. And again, you've got that lovely plus sign where you can add into a folder of work. You can see up here as well the curriculum that all of the resources meet, and you can swap between your subject areas just there as well. Nearly finished, guys, nearly finished. It's a lot to take in. Do explore, and you can always get in touch with us if you need any help. Top right hand corner, there's a little question mark. You'll find there our phone number and email address just there. Now, I mentioned as well, all of our activities and assessments are marked for you, and you'll be able to view that data in the success tracker. So anything that your students have done, activities and assessments, no matter how many times they've completed the activity or assessment, all of that data can be found here. So do check that out. There we go. Again, you can look for certain dates, class, group, or even an individual. Take it from that individual part is really, really useful for parents' meetings. So that's just about it from me. Don't forget our quick links at the bottom here, times table and phonics bundles, as well as our Play Live game. We have also got a teacher resource pack full of the things you probably spend a lot of time making. Do check that out. And our online safety bundle. If our children, our students are using EducationCity online, we want to make sure that they are safe. So do check those out. We've also got our news over here. One of my wonderful colleagues, Kirsty Moss, is both a parent and a customer service representative for EducationCity, and she's written this blog here, which is fantastic. Do, if you've got a spare 5 minutes, have a look at that. And that is just about it from me. Remember, most importantly, users set up. Students need to be set up and then passwords and logins given out so that they can log in and access work that you've set. And you need to be set up so that you can give out that work to your students. Those resources, have a play around with them. You'll find the ones that you love the most, and you'll find a way of searching for them that appeals to you best. Those My City folders, pop in those resources in, and just remember to go through each of those 4 tabs: content, students, preferences. Make sure you publish if you're allocating to students, and then you can track, and you can use that tracking in the My City area to see who's done what, or explore the success tracker for a bit more of a well-rounded view of what your students have been up to. Remember those free resources, those quick link bundles, and that blog by my lovely colleague, Kirsty Moss. And do get in touch with us if you need anything at all. Has anybody got any questions for me? Probably an awful lot to take in. I do hope you're all really raring and ready to go exploring of Education City. If your school hasn't yet taken us up on our free access offer, do get in touch. Email address just there, customer service at educationcity.com. That's customer service at educationcity.com, and we would be happy to help. Also, any questions you might have after today, but remember this webinar is being recorded, so you can always watch it again for any areas you might have missed or that you want a bit of a refresher on. I do hope that's helped you. Please stay safe and take care. Hopefully I'll see you again at some future webinars. Bye-bye.